We're going to have to start being rocket scientists in order to make simple repairs on our cars.
But now, modules are so sophisticated that the computer used to program them can't just be a standalone computer. It has to tie into a server. Let's say we're at a Toyota dealership. The computer used to program your modules won't even work unless it can talk to Toyota's server, their mainframe computer, to verify all this data. So even if you go buy that expensive dealer scan tool, it still isn't going to work because it needs an account set up with Toyota mainframe. Now, that's not going to affect the common car user who's, fixing their car on the weekend, a few little things here or there. But I do get emails to say, if I buy the dealer scan tool, will it work? Probably not. They have that locked down pretty tight. Now, how does it affect us as the shop owner? Cost. There's car companies out there that say, yes, we'll allow you to log into our computer system, and so it will allow you to program modules, but it costs $10,000 a year. So if a shop pays that, they're not just going to lose that money, they're going to charge you for it.
I'm a big fan of Jim Farley because every time he talks on camera, he says something that is just outlandish, and you're like, man, you really shouldn't have said that, and this is no different. Listen to this 35-second clip, and then we're going to talk about it.
I think Ford's position is very reasonable. We're really a big advocate for the ability to repair a vehicle, but it has to be done at a reasonable cost.
But you don't want people repairing their own vehicles.
No, that's fine. Not for warranty work, though. These are very complicated cars, and we don't think that's safe. For many of the repairs on our vehicles, someone at home like myself could never do it. I have no problem working on a 73 Bronco. To work on a brand new Bronco, I need all sorts of specialty tools. That's something that, we would put people's life.
So he almost goes back on his word immediately. He's like, yeah, we got no problem people working on their own vehicles. But then he's like, oh, no, they're far too complicated for people to work on. They cannot work on their own vehicles. That is insanely dangerous. We would not support that at all, basically. He obviously not for warranty work. But then after the fact, once your warranty's over, 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is, now what? Now you're in this position where it's like, oh, of course you can't. Like, he's like, oh, obviously you can't work on it. He's like, yeah, you can work on like a 73 Bronco like I got, but like, you're not going to work on a new Bronco. That's insane. It's like, well, the car came out under you. Why are they so complex? You can't work on them, Jim Farley. Why is it like, how are you going to say that? And then he's like, oh, the specialty tools alone that you would need makes it insane. And it's like, yeah, that's everybody's kind of problem that they have with you. I have my own issues with right to repair, but like, this is pretty much what everybody keeps circling around is like the specialty tools, and he just stamps it right there. This is why Jim Farley is always the GOAT.
Okay, tell me if I'm crazy. Bought a brand new 2026 Chevy Traverse Z71 end of January. Owned it for 3 weeks, had to have it towed back to the dealership because the check engine light came on, lost power steering, all these bells and whistles on the dash. It's now sat at the dealership since February 16th. They've attempted multiple repairs. Dealership has been great, by the way. And they've given me a loaner, so I haven't been out of a car. But now Chevy, who is going to be buying back my car, thank God, is giving me a lowball offer. And the offer that they gave me for the swap for my new car barely covers the new car. And I get a call today from my dealership saying that based on what they're giving them, my payment's going up. Why is my payment going up for the same exact car that I got to drive for 3 weeks? Am I crazy? Somebody help me out here.
They are literally building these cars so that you throw them away when they break. Literally, just throw them away when they break. Don't replace it. Don't fix it. Just throw it away. So I'm installing a camera system, and I messed up. Somehow I got myself locked. I'm pretty sure I didn't loop the piece all the way through on the handle. So basically the door was shut. I pulled on it really hard. Door opens. But as you can tell, I broke this. Just a little plastic piece, I broke it. I mean, no biggie. I'll look online. Can't find it. I understand it's a newer car. This is 23. I'm like, shoot. Let's call the dealer. So the guy on the phone was like, he spent like 10 minutes. He calls me. He actually had to call me back. Calls me back and says, actually, we can't just get the door handle. I'm like, what do you mean you can't just get the door handle? You have to order the entire door panel. He even said it comes with a new window switch. And then I realized, because I took the dang thing back off, he's not kidding. It is like, they've molded the plastic around it. You cannot get this off. You cannot get that out. What the heck? One, I get, like, this should never break, right? But how many times have you replaced a window switch in a car? It gets wet with water. What are you going to tell me? I need a whole new door panel? It's only a cool $525.
Okay, 2025 Jeep Wagoneer. We're currently in drive, coming to a stop sign. We're gonna come to a complete stop. And then, yep, there it went. Completely shuts off. I was in drive, didn't even put the car in park, completely shuts off, and I have to redo it. And then it throws, usually it'll say like power steering. Yep, there it is, right there. If anybody knows what this is, let me know.
It's funny to me, as cars get newer and the technology gets newer, I think they're actually going to get worse. This Mach-E does not have a door handle. This is a door handle, right? You pull on it, the door opens. This has a push button. Door opens. I have one problem with that. It snowed a little bit last night. Probably 1 or 2 inches. So my avalanche is here outside, right? So the Mach-E would have a push button somewhere around here. You're going to have to find the push button, right? Instead of just pulling the door open, right? Wow, that actually worked. So the push button would be somewhere around there. I guess if you own an EV, you should just park it in a garage. If you don't have a garage, don't own an EV. Because this is a push. That latch has to disengage. So what happens when it's iced over? You're not going to be able to just pull the door open, right? It's not going to be a simple process like that. This is a grab handle. So this is only going to work after the door has unlatched. If that mechanism gets frozen in there, you can't tug it open. There's no mechanical release to open that hint. Like, this is not going to get mechanically released from the outside like this is, right? You pull this unlatch button. This button is undoing that latch in there. Just wild to me.
$10,000 miles on her, bro. Fucking shitty. 2024 with 10,000 miles, and this is what she sounds like.
Is this how my Power Stroke's supposed to sound like?
Yep.
Going out here to start my truck. Hit the unlock button 2 times. Unlock the doors. Open the doors up. Running boards don't work. Nothing on the dash is coming on. Go ahead and climb in. Put my foot on the brake. Hit the button once. Things come on. My backup camera comes on. None of this lights up. Hit and hold the start button. Absolutely nothing works. Nothing works. Turn it off. Get out. Lock the doors. Try the remote start. Doesn't work either.
I feel like every new car brand is having major issues now, and especially when it comes to the engine. And I think this is one of the biggest things, and no one's talking about it. If you see on this right here, this is the oil fill cap on the 2002 Chevy Vortec 5.3 liter. And if you see right there, it says 5W30. And I think one of the biggest problems is that every new manufacturer now, to get to the regulation and to meet the fuel requirement that are so strict right now, going to thinner and thinner oil. Even this little 4-cylinder back from the early 2000s, even this one required 5W30. Well, let's say on this Jeep right here,
This Pennstar 3.6 liter now requires 0W20. But the funny part is when this engine came out, it originally came out with 5W30 as the oil requirement. Again, as the emissions and the fuel requirements got tighter, they went to a thinner oil because it's more fuel efficient. But I think what we're sacrificing for fuel efficiency, we're sacrificing for reliability. I don't know about you, but I rather have reliability over fuel economy. If you take away a mile per gallon and tell me the engine will go another 100,000 miles longer, I'll take that every day. But I feel like that's the problem. We're chasing the fuel economy and we're costing ourselves reliable transportation.
Car manufacturers have truly found the recipe in order to make sure that we constantly give up our money to them. Simple. One, they complicated the structure of the car so that you cannot do any DIY repairs on your car anymore. It's become so complicated that you don't even know what to do for it. Even the certified mechanics at these dealerships are struggling to make repairs on these new cars because there's a constant change and it's becoming more electrical than mechanical. And that's not a good sign. So that forces us into paying more for these services, these repairs. Or they purposely and intentionally make sure that the cars become very unreliable, that break down easy, have issues after a certain amount of miles, just so that we have two options of either making a huge repair or paying a lot of money out of pocket, or in their case, they want us to trade it in and start a new loan on an even more expensive car that will probably have the same issues or similar ones. So the days of old of being able to have control over what can be done over your car is long gone. They have manipulated the system in a way that it is unfair for us and it is unfair for our wallets. I don't like the idea that we can't do simple changes. I've been a big GM person for a long time, and the GMCs I've had, if you want to replace a light bulb, you do not just simply replace it. You actually have to remove the front bumper in order to gain access to certain parts, just to change a bulb that costs probably 20, 30 bucks at most. Now I'm having to spend extra hundreds of dollars. And that's the game. They know how to do it. Even the CEO of Ford is saying that these vehicles are very complicated and they're dangerous. I thought we were supposed to be driving safe cars, not dangerous ones. And that just pretty much comes to the point where it's like, yeah, he knows what's happening and he's okay with it because he wins and we don't. We're seeing the picture and it seems to be something that is happening across all vehicles. And it doesn't matter what manufacturer it comes from, even reliable ones, they have found a way to just screw us over. So, guys, comment down below, leave a like, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.